Okay. And so if you don't remember, I will take this and create a YouTube video, and then you always have access to that, and I'll post it on Telegram. Or if you request it from me, I can send it to you. So welcome back to our third time meeting together. I want to start off by saying a couple really important things. Everybody sort of knows what we're going to cover, but I'm only doing this for two more times. I'm going to do it for the month of September, and then I'm going to stop. The reason I'm going to stop is about from what I'm about to tell you. So I can't delineate my source because they have a clearance, but there's a lot of people concerned that things are going to get really, really crazy in the next 2 to 6 weeks, which is one of the, I'm just too busy with some other Patriot things I'm working on to continue to do this. And I think since you have access to the recordings and you need to start turning all this good stuff into action, that you got plenty to do besides be on a Zoom meeting 1 hour a week. So that being said, I'm going to start off talking about short-term food storage, and it's open. You know, if you have ideas, you can raise your hand and I'll call on you and you can share that with the group. And then I'm going to be followed up by Lee, who's going to go into long-term food storage. And if Anita ever joins us, after
I'm
I cover,
here.
oh, hey, Anita,
Hi.
after I cover basic first aid, I'm gonna let Anita wrap it up with some natural remedies and natural healing things. Is 5 minutes enough, Anita?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let me just go ahead and dive right into it. So when we talk about food, now food is not as important as water, and you got to have that water thing down before you start working on food. But if again things unravel, especially if the power goes out, the first week or two are going to be tough, but nothing compared to what's going to happen a month or 2 months down the road. And that's where this is really going to come into play. So,
Can I interject on that water? I wasn't on that.
sure.
I've looked at on Facebook and I've seen these big containers that have a metal crate around them. They're a
Right.
wire crate. You can get them for 50 to 75 bucks. They've had mineral oil in them, but you can flush them out and store water in them. They're
Yep.
cheap. They're really cheap, 275 gallons.
Yeah, you
But
just have
where
a
would you
place.
store
You
them?
just have to have a place that can hold that amount of weight because that's over a ton of water.
Like in your garage, if you can put it inside of your garage on the concrete floor, it should be fine.
Yep. I just don't have room for it. Otherwise, I'd get one.
Where do you get one?
You can go on
I've seen them out on Marketplace,
yeah,
Facebook
Facebook
Marketplace.
Marketplace.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so food supply, take notes. Patriot Supply is a great source. I'm going to do my screen share in a second. You can go onto Facebook Marketplace and buy MREs, meals ready to eat. They're Army issue. We heard last Sunday that you only need 1,500 calories a day to stop from wasting away. However, 1,500 calories a day is not going to cut it if you're doing any kind of work, which is why the military MREs have 2,000 and soldiers are eating 2 to 3 a day because they're doing that much work. You're probably not going to do that much work. So one case of MREs, which is 12,
So,
can last you a couple weeks. Um, Obviously, if you have canned goods, you can stock your pantry with canned goods, dried goods. You can and should have a garden. You can can your own vegetables using a canning. And a good resource for that is Lehman Brothers. They have a canning Bible, or you can go on to Amazon and get the Lehman's Canning Bible. And then we heard on Sunday, there's animal husbandry. So I know Anita's into that. Obviously, my wife and I are into that. The best way to do that is to raise backyard chickens, or you can do rabbits. I'm not going into how you do all that. That's more advanced. And I do recommend that before we adjourn, and now's a good time, let's talk about next week. Let me tell you what I have planned, and I want to see if there's any heartburn with that. I had planned next week that we delve into a couple topics. We can go into more advanced communication because people have radios now. We can do proper radio etiquette. We can go how to. There's only one repeater on GMRS in the city. How do you connect into a repeater? We can do radio checks. Um, and also, when we have our exercise, which is going to be on Saturday the 21st, if you're in people's rights, you should be responding to that exercise and you should have your GMRS radio, and you need to have that GMRS radio on channel 15. That's the People's Rights channel, channel 15. And then be trying to communicate all the way till you get to the scenario. That's a great way to communicate with people. I recommend you don't bring your cell phone. That's up to you. But if you do bring your cell phone, because People's Rights, I just don't want the de facto government tracking me. So I have a black Faraday bag. You can buy 2 on Amazon for $15. They can't track you. But make sure you're bringing a camera to that event. So some more advanced communications. We can go into some more advanced, like growing vegetables all year round, how you can do that. And we can expand on things that you've heard so far that you need more clarification on. So that's what I plan to do for the next 2 weeks. All right, let's go into, before we get into long-term storage. So there are, I'm going to do a screen share right now. Before we get into long-term storage, share my screen. Here we go. Let me go to the website here. Let me know when you can see this. Tell me what you see.
Nice desktop.
No. Stop.
Yeah.
Let me try this again. Let me try it again. Come on. Maximize and share. Please work for me. There we go. Now it should work. What do you see?
Keys to Thrive.
Right.
Jesus, yeah.
So this is the website that they referred to on Sunday. I've gone and checked it out a little bit, but this is a great resource. They have documents you can download. This should be your planning, your prepper website that you go to. So when we go to food, there's tips on gardening, fermenting, animals, agriculture. And they had stuff in here. Remember they talked about we're one of the top 2 drop sites in the country for that food drop. And now, of course, I'm not going to find it. But you can keep in touch with them. Here we go. So this Azure, you can go in here, who we are, what kind of products they have. All the stuff is here. You want to order stuff, you can get it. They got boxes with all kinds of stuff and they'll drop it here. Now, I don't think you're going to have a whole lot of time. This might be more of a long-term plan, not a short-term plan. Okay. But you can get stuff that's going to be packaged for long-term storage like Lee's going to talk about.
You buy it in bulk is what you do.
Correct. And so anyway, check out this website. I'm going to go back to Radical Resilience. It's radicalresilience.health. Okay. I'm not going to go into too much of their website. We've already used 8 minutes. It's important when you're stocking your pantry that you label things. I'm not very good at this, but I'm good at what I'm about to tell you, which is to rotate things. Take things from the back of the shelf and push things towards the back so that you're using things that are the oldest. Any questions so far? Has anybody here ever done any canning? Canning, yeah, I've canned in my garden.
I've done some.
And I know Anita does. I know that
I
Karen.
helped my mother when I was young.
Yeah.
I know with the fermenting though, the problem with fermenting is that it has to be refrigerated. So when the juice goes out, your fermented food is going to sit there. So the canning long term in the refrigerator, it lasts for weeks.
Right.
But if you don't have a fridge, then it's going to spoil.
You can only
And,
store so much stuff in your fridge anyway. So the bulk
Yeah,
of the
I know.
stuff's
So the fermenting is more a short-term solution
correct.
versus the
Can-
canning is long-term.
Can't you can fermented vegetables?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and it's really simple. It's so easy to ferment and it's good and it's really healthy. But like I said, it's not gonna last as long as canned food.
well, in the wintertime, you can do fermenting and just keep it in your garage. Mine stays at
Oh,
about
hi,
50
Michael.
degrees. And I do a lot of sauerkraut. There's all
Yeah.
kinds of things you can do. But just keep in mind that canning is good. Canning vegetables should be the bulk of your preps. And those are good for a year or two if you do them right.
You can do fruits as well.
He goes to RSF.
Yep.
You can do.
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead now and turn it over to Lee, who's going to talk about long-term storage. And Lee, I'll go ahead and do the screen share while you're talking.
Okay. The first thing that I put up is salt, using salt for food preparation. I'm not going to go through all of this. Each one of those, you can read it. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's traditional ways to do it. There's different types of salt that you can get for curing. There's a lot of information out on the internet on how to do it, so I didn't want to get into that. There's pickling, there's fermenting, wet brining, dry salting, et cetera, et cetera. One of the things, my wife is doing some of that fermenting, and we make kombucha and other stuff. But one of the things we got into was vacuum sealing. And we purchased Mylar bags. And I purchased a brand. I did a lot of research on a particular brand of sealer because I had a standard, I can't remember the name of it, a kitchen type sealer, and I burned it up within about 4 or 5 bags trying to seal them. So I bought a Magic Seal. It's a commercial version. It's a 16-inch deal. It has the information below. And you can use it for the smooth bags or the rough bags on the inside. And you put an oxygen O2, it pulls the oxygen out, and it'll last depending on what you're doing, dry foods or whatever, it'll last 5 years or more in that Mylar bag. And I put in there the type of Mylar bags that we got. They're 5 mil. They were hard to find during COVID, real hard to find. Even the oxygen absorbers were real hard to find. But we used, depending on what we were doing, we used a 300 cc or a 500 cc oxygen absorber. Another reason to use a gallon Mylar bag is you can use it to barter. The other thing is, if you get bigger ones, you open it up, you have to either have a way to seal it and put a new oxygen absorber in there, or you're going to have to use up all the food in there. The other thing is we purchased food grade buckets. They're white. We got them at Home Depot with the seal lids. And what's nice about it is you can take all of your Mylar bags and pop it in there, and you can label the outside of the bucket. And what you do is you label the Mylar bags with the date that you filled it, what you put in there, and so on. And you put everything on there on the outside of the bag so you can use it first, like Brian said, you use that first before the latest stuff you did.
And just to dovetail on that, I didn't buy that vacuum sealer at Costco because I did research and they were cheap. And I went and bought another brand you can look at as Avid Amore. And those vacuum, as long as you have electricity or a solar generator to run that, you can use that. It's a great way. It's the same thing. It's a double seal. It's industrial. They have several models. And if you want one off me and I'll send you the link. I will also take this document and I will include it in the next Zoom invitation so that you have this and you can print it out at home.
Yeah, the one that I bought was under $300. I caught it on sale on Amazon.
Yep, mine was about the same.
Yeah, there's several different brands out there. And like I said, I did a lot of research and that was the best one that kind of met our.
What was the name of that brand again?
It's called Magic Seal.
Okay, thank you.
Right here.
It's right there. It has it right there.
Okay.
That's the brand. I put a link in here also for you to go to.
Yep, I saw that.
Fantastic.
Let's see how we're doing. We still have 15 minutes. So
I can't overemphasize the food grade buckets. The reason being is because if you have to bug out, you want something where you can grab a couple of the most important buckets and take it with you. And
Yeah.
it's easy to store because they stack on top of each other. It's pretty cool.
I don't see me bugging out personally. This is the fucking Alamo for me. So
Well,
Me
I'm not
neither.
bugging out either, but you just never know.
I know. Well, you might have to bug out if there's a fire or something, but
Exactly.
Exactly.
And you want to store all of this, like you said, in your garage or wherever a cool area in your basement is.
all right, let's keep going. And we can always, if we finish a little early, we can always open it up for Q&A. So let's talk about basic first aid. Let me stop that one. And again, I'll get that out to everybody with the next Zoom invitation right after this meeting. let me go to my Amazon shopping cart. And so basic first aid. I don't think I need to go into why it's important. I was going to bring some things in to show, but I don't think we have time, so I'm just going to talk about them. So let me do my screen share. I don't know why I have to maximize my screen every single time I want to do this. It's ridiculous. Hold on. I'm being challenged right now. Here we go. Share.
I'm that way every day.
All right. So here is that really nice first aid kit. I looked at it. It's a category Gen 7. It's got a lot of good stuff in it. It's even got instruction books on it. So if you don't have anything and money's not an object, because you get what you pay for when it comes to first aid. And so there you go, the Everlit Advanced Emergency Trauma Kit. Again, I have probably 7 or 8 first aid kits. I have one in several go bags. I have one in several vehicles on my motorcycle. You can buy burn kits, which I've got. There are also these moldable splints. They're orange, and you can go on Amazon and look at all this stuff. Flexible splint kit. I also recommend that you need at least 1 or 2 tourniquets. Can you make a field expedient tourniquet in the field? Absolutely. But these tourniquets don't cost much. And when it comes to that, you don't want to be cheap. I only have 1 or 2, so I need to get some more. Again, I have a whole bunch of stuff in my save for later for if things get worse. In my first aid kits, I keep a pair of rubber gloves. I keep a Sharpie so I can mark on something if I have to take care of somebody, a time or vital information. I also keep in there a little bit of ibuprofen, a little bit of Benadryl. I mean, just common sense things that you might need in an emergency situation. I also keep some Sucrets or little candies in there because a lot of times people can be suffering from dehydration and they're drinking plenty of water. And the problem is they skipped too many meals. They don't have any electrolytes. And so a little candy like that can make a big difference if somebody's going into
idea.
yeah. So another, before I turn it over to Anita, another thing that that I'm going to cover is field expedient. So there's a thing that you can dress wounds with it's called an Israeli bandage. It's on Amazon, Israeli bandage. You got to have a couple of those because if you get into trouble or into violent situations, you're probably going to get injured. You need to have some way to stop the bleeding. But if you don't have that or don't want to go buy it, I'll just tell you something that happened to me. This was always supposed to be part of my kit, but I spent the money. But the other day, somebody dumped a bunch of stuff out by Natural Grocer, and it was all brand new stuff. Kleenex, wipes, just a whole bunch of stuff. And included in there were 2 bags of, one was tampons and one was pads. I didn't just throw them away. They're now part of my field expedient kit because if you get a bullet wound or a laceration or a stab wound, you can take a tampon because it's sterile and you can jam that in the wound and it'll do a pretty good job of stopping the bleeding. So there are things you can use around the house, rags, all kinds of stuff. Again, a first aid kit is better, but if you don't have it with you and you have this stuff, you can use that. Because if things go crazy, the medical system will be overwhelmed. You need to make sure in your group or in your neighborhood, you know somebody who's good with first aid. I know people who are combat medic. I know a combat medic right on my street. I don't know their political affiliation, but it's good to know people who have that training because you're going to have to depend on yourselves. You're not 911's not coming. The police aren't coming if things get real crazy. I'm going to turn it over. Oh, the other thing you want to do is, again, I think I mentioned this. If you have prescriptions, I don't have any right now, thank God. But get those filled in advance and ask your doctor for a 90-day supply. So if things go crazy, at least you're several months of stuff that's going to help you. I even have a surgical kit in my prep. It's a little zippered kit, and if I can't use it, my wife probably could. But if somebody in your group is medically trained, they're going to need that stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
So have you heard of colloidal silver?
No.
Yeah.
Colloidal silver is a good antimicrobial that you can put on the bandage when you do that. You squirt some of that on there, put the bandage on, and what happens is the bacteria or viruses and stuff will not replicate. So it protects the wound. It's a
Got it.
liquid. You can get it 30 parts per million. The one I recommend is the brand is Source Naturals. You can get it on Amazon. 30 parts per million.
What's it called? Colloidal?
Colloidal silver, yeah.
silver.
What brand?
You also can take it internally every day. It's also boosts your immune system.
Well,
Is it like Neosporin or no?
No,
you can do Neosporin, but this is to me this is better. This is natural. The issue some people have with taking the colloidal silver is that because it doesn't discriminate, it keeps the bacteria or viruses or anything from replicating. You want your good bacteria to replicate in your gut. So
Yes.
taking it every day is maybe not the best.
Okay,
I've
thank you.
been taking it. I take it about 3-4 times a week.
Yes,
You can also
that's
put
good.
it in your dogs can it's also good for your animals.
Exactly, it is.
Yeah, I put it in the water for my cats and my dogs.
You get the location.
Okay,
What
go
was
ahead,
the-
Anita. I'm going to turn it over to Anita.
What was the contact? What was to find that source?
Amazon.
For the colloidal silver, the brand I use is called Source Naturals.
Naturals.
30 parts
Okay.
per million. 30 parts per million on Amazon.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I just want to talk about something real quick. Is a plant that I came across. It's called the purple pitcher plant. I don't know if you guys heard about it. I posted on our garden channel a little video today, so you can look at it. It's a carnivore plant and it grows here in Colorado. The only thing is you have to make sure that in the winter before frost, you mulch the roots really good so they don't freeze. But
What's
it
it
can
called?
grow here. It's
What's it
called a
called?
purple pitcher plant. They have different color pitcher plants, but the purple one has the medicinal properties. You can use the whole plant. You can use the leaves, the unopened pitches. You can use the roots, and it is a diuretic. It's a remedy for fever, whooping cough, smallpox, monkeypox. It's for urinary tract and pain. If for pain, if given in an injection, it is also actually approved by the FDA because it contains serapin. So one good thing is that the juice from the flower and the unopened pitchers, it is also proven that it will reduce blood sugar. So that is something to think about. You can you can order the seeds like at Baker's Creek. They have them. I haven't seen a plant because the carnivore plants are kind of hard to get a hold of. So most likely you would have to start them from seed. So if we're still going to be around next year, then I'm going to order seeds and I'm going to start them, and then I'll keep everybody posted. And then, hopefully it turns out we have babies, then I'd be happy to share. I think it's a plant that we should have as a medicine in your medicine cabinet because it will help us to overcome illnesses, and all you need is a dropperful. And, when they get crazy with the monkeypox, right there, you're going to have some medicine for it, and you don't have to really worry about going to a doctor.
You're talking
The one
about,
thing what I
you're talking about
found
the-
out about,
Anita, you're talking about
huh?
the water in the pitcher?
huh?
You're talking about the water in the pitcher?
No, when you crush the plant, you can make tinctures from the plant using alcohol. But when you make the juices from the plant itself, and when you crush it and you take that, it will help you for any kind of stomach pain, actually for cataracts, and it reduces blood sugar. You don't need a whole lot because it's highly concentrated. But you can get the tincture. You can order the tincture online And you can keep that in your medicine cabinet because they usually, tinctures really don't spoil. Most of them are made with alcohol, and you can just keep them. And if you need it, then you take it. So I found the seeds, and it has to be purple. The seeds, they are available on Baker's Creek. Heirloom seeds, they have them. So early next year, I'm going to order some, and then we'll see what's going to happen. So you can grow it outdoors, but you have to make sure that it won't freeze. Otherwise, you can grow it inside. If you grow it inside, I found it interesting. Every 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to feed it bugs or fish food.
Mhm.
And you don't need any fertilizer on the plant because the insects give it the nutrients that it needs to grow. So I find it extraordinary what it does, and it grows even in Alaska, so that's pretty impressive.
Do you
Yeah.
do you crush the whole plant, Anita, or which
No,
part?
you
do you
use you use different things. So for example, and you can look that up online as well. I just did
Okay.
like a summary, but because I don't have a plant, but in order, for example, to get for like stomach pain, cataracts, or for your blood sugar, you use the juice from the young flowers and the unopened pitchers. When you look at that little video on the garden channel that we have, there's a little video you can look at the plant. It's a beautiful plant.
Is my screen share
And it
working?
gives you an idea how it looks. It's a carnivore plant, so it grows quite tall. And the top, it almost looks like an orchid. But you can use the stems, the leaves, and the roots to make medicine from the
All right,
whole
thank-
plant. So that's
Awesome.
quite amazing. But
Yeah,
it's something
thank you.
for reduced blood sugar, which is kind of tricky to find in natural medicine, you know. And what I found when you start dabbling with natural medicine, you kind of learn to trust yourself, and you slowly but surely walk away from pharmaceuticals, which we are gonna have to do anyways, because, well, you know, if the shit falls apart, then we have to rely on one another. So,
Anita,
you know,
how can I find out about the gardening channel? I didn't know anything about that.
if you look at the, we have a gardening channel and then some about something local.
It's on Telegraph.
It's on Telegram, yeah.
Okay, is it on our?
It's part of our group.
Oh, okay. I'll look for it.
Yeah, it's part of the group, and you can just sign up for it. There's like we have 5 different groups, I think.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting and maybe helpful.
Thank you, Anita. We have 6 minutes and 47 seconds before it's going to kick us out. One of the
Awesome.
things I want to present next week, Anita, is my daughter sent me something on organic container gardening, and it's called a garden tower. You can
Yeah.
use it indoors.
Yeah.
You can grow a
Yeah.
lot of herbs and stuff in it, and you don't have to fertilize it. It recycles everything. You
Yeah.
put worms in it, and you put your kitchen scraps in it, and it just regenerates. It's better than hydroponic gardening. And so I don't know if one of those purple pitcher plants would work in there. Maybe it would. I don't know. But
It needs a lot of sun and kind of a sandy soil, so it likes the soil to be moist.
Yeah.
And lots of sunlight, so you can grow it indoors, take it out in the summer, and then bring it back in the fall. Or, you know, you can try to grow it outdoors because it does grow here.
Before we're kicked off, I just have one quick question for Brian. Channel 15, is that 437.425?
stand by. Channel 15 is 462.55.
462.55. How'd you get channel 15? My Baofeng has channel 15 is 437.425.
Well, I don't know where my radio is, but I can double check that if you give me just a second.
I
think-
can add it in. I was just kind of wondering.
When I send out the email with this document, I'll confirm that for everybody on the chat.
Fantastic.
Let's see, I'm pretty sure I copied that down right, but anyway, I'll make sure I put the frequency in there. And also with that garden system, I'll research this too for next week. You can, and if you bring it in the winter, you can use LED lights that use almost no power. Hell, you could have a solar generator and still grow those plants. So they
You have
do.
to have daylight lights.
Anybody else? Again, I don't think, I think we're in for some really crazy evil times in the next few weeks, for the next couple months. I don't have time during this to go into what's going on in the country, but you should be concerned.
I am.
Yeah, we're concerned.
Yep.
And you need to plug into community. You can't do it alone. You need neighbors. Don't be afraid to talk to people, because when the shit hits the fan, everybody's going to want to be your friend, and they got to be your friend before the shit hits the fan.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm also doing some research on trip flares and some other things. Again, Sunday was a good wake up call for me. So since we have a couple more minutes, I'll just go here and show you a couple things that are in my cart that they mentioned on Sunday. So if you don't have a Silcock key, a couple really nice ones are only $12 on Amazon. Again, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. This is something I plan to buy if I really need to, and it's a cook stove. I can put this chimney right into my fireplace and vent it out my chimney, and use this right inside the house. It'll help heat the house. Or you could do it in the garage, but you'd have to keep your garage open, obviously. This is not very big, but you need a way to cook if there's no electricity, because, and this is the system that I have. Mine's a little bit more powerful, but these things have come way down in price in the last couple of years. This is the one that I have with a bunch of solar panels. But if I thought things were going to get serious and thought we might lose power, I might order a couple more. Tripwire, these are some pretty good flares, and you can use different things with them. Fifth Ops is where you want to buy those from. So anyway, I'm rambling on. We only have 2 minutes. I just want to see if anybody else has any immediate concerns. There's 2 things I got to send you. The thing that Lee went over tonight with long-term preparation, and then the frequency and GMRS channel. And make sure when you respond next Saturday, you're bringing that with you, and use it throughout your trip to see who you can communicate with.
And
Ryan,
I need some help with my radio.
Who's me? Oh,
I'm
Lee?
Michael Armstrong.
Michael, okay.
I can program the radios. Technically, I know what they're doing. I just don't know how to use it and how. I've been reading up on the etiquette and all the different frequencies.
Is it a
and
ham radio or a GMRS radio?
both?
You have both.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the GMRS comes pre-programmed with all the channels. You can't.
Well, mine is a GRMS, and it came with channel 10 was 265.225.
No, that's not right. Maybe I can do a separate Zoom or something with you, because yeah, the GMRS frequencies are between 462 and, well, they're all 462, 467, 462, 467. They're offset by 50 kilohertz. And do you have your GMRS license?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. So you have your call sign and all that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Ryan, I just wanted to mention that nobody talked about having food for animals and
So,
extra food.
yeah, have you read that book, 1 Second After yet?
No.
You need to order it, because what you're going to find is people can't take care of themselves. They ain't taking care of their animals. And so animals are going to be running around all over the damn place. And you're not going to be able to buy dog food. Or maybe when you're going out like they do in The Walking Dead and looking for food, you're looking for pet food. So you're going to be feeding pets what you eat. You're not going to have pet food. Or your animals.
I can only say what we do every time when I make an order or when I buy stuff for my animals. I always buy extra for the pantry. And I buy extra, we get an extra for the chickens, and we just store extra as much as we can. And it is, it is what it is. I mean,
It's just like storing for yourself.
we do the best we can. And, to take care of ourselves, take care of our furry families. We can only do the best that we can do.